People of all backgrounds, we are live. We have our morning coffee. No one cares. Hey, check out this truck here. Check out this truck. Isn't that a nice truck? Isn't that a nice truck? Peterbilt. Those guys always have nice trucks. Those guys are going to be hurting. And then I have a Cash App question. Oh, here's a load. Always looking for loads. Always, always, always. Even when I'm at home, always looking at the load board. Oh, well, not when I'm home for 2 weeks, but we'll do some shout outs. Oh, there we are. It is a beautiful morning here at the customer, and it's like there, and good old Cascade Transport. You gotta look at them. Provost, how's it going? We got Daniel Adami, Anthony Bressler, RD yelling at the windshield. Provost Motorsports, Jeremy Rice, Scott SRO Logistics, Marty. What am I up to? I'm up to no good. Cascade says grow a set. Robert Daniel, Scott Lecklater. Yeah, Cascade and I have this inside joke. So Big Rig CEO says the same thing. But you gotta love it. You gotta love inside jokes, right? So, but I only look for loads 3 or 4 times a month. So Scott, I know, Scott. I know. I think, low volumes are through the roof. That little thumbnail, that little graphic, that is from something that Chad Boblet put up on the Rate Per Mile Masters Load freight Facebook page. I don't know if that's coming from FreightWaves, Sonar, or if that's coming from that. But either way, volumes are really good. When volumes are like this, I don't even look. Well, I guess that contradicts what I just said. I don't even book anything until I'm in the dock, unless I see something that I just absolutely can't have, can't do without. But this particular customer I'm at, the last time I was here, which was just last week, they took like 3 hours to unload me. So I'm going to check in an hour early. So I thought I'd do this quick live feed. Because and then I'll start booking. Once the truck starts shaking, then I'll start looking. But that's how good the rates are right now and the volumes, is that that you can book at the last minute. There's just so much freight. So let's see. TJ Jones, what's up? Morning all from a sunny Louisiana, getting loaded with 5,000 gallons of horrible liquid. How horrible is it, Nomadic Brit? Is it hazmat? I remember my hazmat days. I was watching the Trucker's Table this morning. Man, that close call he had in the beginning of his video, that was I just dealt with that just a couple of days ago myself. Trucker's Table, I like his format. He's kind of a little bit more upbeat, and he's got a little bit more editing going on. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. So he's probably not watching this because I don't think he likes me, but he's stepping it up a little bit. Eddie Drotar, 5K for 1220 miles, heading to Lakeland, Florida. Wow. Yeah, hazmat, so don't drink it. Nomadic Brit, you say that, but I used to haul ingredients for Diet Sprite, Diet Dr. Pepper, and other diet sodas, and it was all, we had to have 3, sometimes 4 placards for those loads. And what it was ingredients that went to the bottling plant up in Pennsylvania. So yeah, soda's bad for you. If the stock market doesn't bounce back soon, I will be in the truck tomorrow. What if it does bounce back? Are you retiring? If you're retiring, sell me your truck, Provost. I want your truck. Today's coffee is Cafe Altura. Here, I'll get it. This stuff here is my favoriteest coffee right there. Oh, so I have a Cash App question. You Cash App people. So I got a notice on my Cash App that my payment was declined to this cream place in Australia. And so I don't know how that card number was hacked. Luckily I don't keep cash on that card. I would, usually I do, but I disabled the card, so I don't know if anybody else has ever had that happen. No. Thinking about it, April 10th, just saying, you guys. You thinking about getting out of the truck and selling it? Man, you must really have some investments lined up that's going to do you good. I wish I had that. When it comes to the stock market, I am an absolute idiot. I know nothing, and I just don't, like, zilch. I have zero concept of what happens, how it happens. The Bitcoin thing, the Dogecoin thing, everything that Jeff talks about in his live feeds, I have absolutely over the head. Which is probably why I'll remain a peasant for the rest of my days. So, and like, I'm talking like if I was learning how to read when it comes to stock market, I mean, I got to start with the book that says, words with cat, dog, simple, like, basic words that you give to a 2-year-old, just that you read, see the cat run, that kind of stuff. That I need that level of stock market teaching. That's where I'm at. Like, and I don't know, usually some of the beginner things that I've looked at are still over my head. So again, that's probably why I'll remain a peasant for the rest of my days. Even experts know nothing. Stock market is just legalized gambling. Well, there's lots of forms of legalized gambling. It's kind of like, and that's part of the problem. I'm gonna assume, and we all know how awesome it is to assume things, but like when you go into a casino and you play the slot machines, you're literally putting money into a machine and hoping that it gives you more. When you look at the basic concept, not without understanding what the odds are, without understanding what makes the machine work, without understanding of what makes the machine decide that you're the one that's going to get this money. And to me, that's what the stock market is. You guys ever seen that movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd? It's a great movie. I don't think they do it this way anymore. But back in the 70s and 80s, when you look at the floor of the Wall Street, and like everybody's yelling at each other, I had no idea what was going on there, and I had no idea how business can even be done that way. Maybe better off, Steve. Time spring forward this weekend. Yes, spring forward. Now us solar powered drivers have an extra hour to drive. It'll be awesome. Look out, someone is sneaking up on you. Good. Um, Trucking is legalized. It may not be legal anymore. At this rate, all forms of trucking will be illegal except for autonomous trucks. Mortimer, yeah. Yep. And is the stock market one of those things that the more you know, the more you're screwed? Like, in other words, like is it better just to go in kind of oblivious? See, to me, you always hear of like the guy that shows up at the poker table and who's barely played poker in his life, and then he wins a bunch of money because he's just happy-go-lucky kind of thing. But it seems to me the stock market's not that way. All I know is that the things that I've invested in with my IRA are slow building, and I probably gain about, I don't know, well, I probably shouldn't tell you details, but like maybe a 10% gain each year is kind of where I'm at. So the more you think, the more the more you think you're screwed. That's true with anything in life, right? If you go into a situation thinking you know it all, something's going to come by and smack you upside the head. Big Rig CEO, what is up? I like the rates, except that high shipping costs will raise the price of everything that we buy. So let's talk about. Okay, RD says the whole GameStop thing made me realize how corrupt the system really is. It's always been that corrupt. That's the thing. The people that know that system capitalize and manipulate. That's how everything is. Pretty much. Thomas Wilson is here now. So let's talk about. Let's go completely off the stock subject here. Fuel. Last week I paid $2.59 at a Quick Trip in Joplin, Missouri. That same Quick Trip is now $3. The other mom and pop was $3.09, and I'm not sure what the Petro was in Joplin, which I've had people tell me they've had issues with their fuel there. But I don't go by the Joplin Petro unless I'm going west to Tulsa, so I haven't fueled there in a while. But fuel is going up, and it doesn't show any signs of stopping. They're talking about a leak somewhere in the Carolinas or something, and then you've got the crisis in Texas. And so if you guys remember last time fuel was really high, they blamed every spike in fuel in like it was either a hurricane or some natural disaster, or I mean there was always an excuse. And it's probably really good that rates are really high and volumes high right now, because you're going to need it for your fuel. So when and the people that are going to take the biggest hit are the people with the low fuel mileage trucks, and the people that have to run, heavy haul in the mountains and stuff like that. And then also dispatch people, because if you're dispatched with the set rate per mile, like let's say your company pays you $1.10 plus fuel surcharge, your net profit is solely based off of well, not solely based, but one of the big factors of what your net profit's going to be is if you are dispatched on a load that's 10,000 pounds versus a load that's dispatched under 40,000 pounds, and so your net literally relies on how much less you have to spend in fuel on that particular load. Or if you're running, that's why I've never believed in a dispatched set rate system, because if a person gets a load, say from Kansas City to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, with 45,000 pounds, um, we'll do Springfield because I know the mileage there. That's 1,000 miles versus someone who gets a 5,000 pound load to, you know, Jacksonville, Florida, which is also 1,000 miles. The guy going to Florida is going to make more because they're not paying tolls and they're not paying for fuel. And then you got lower fuel prices in the Southeast. So that's your net profit. And if your dispatcher keeps sending you to Pennsylvania, I mean, what can you do? There's really not much you can do. So the only fluctuation is your fuel and your fuel surcharge. And if you have a non-fuel efficient truck, then you're double screwed. Fuel going up, oil isn't, it's all speculation, right? Freight Sage Logic, what's up? All right, Nomadic Brit, have a good day. Marty says it could be 6 by next year. Provost, Georgia voted to stop switching time, going to stay on one time from now on. Is Florida going to do the same? I was looking at that last night. Big Rig Oil is trading 65 to 70. That should be a lower cost per gallon of fuel that we were seeing. Ninja says we're screwed either way. Right. And look, that was one of the biggest fears with the presidential election was fuel prices. But if it's all speculation, then it's easy to manipulate the masses to think one way or another. It's easy, look, people are like, we got to rise up and revolution and da 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 da. You know what? All they got to do is make it to where, they cut the fuel supply off and everybody's dead in the water, So, Clyde Garland, what's up? Pay $2.16, $2.71 South Carolina and Kentucky. Yeah, the Southeast always has, Southeast and Texas usually have the cheapest fuel. The coast usually have the most expensive, east or west. Missouri's always been kind of middle ground. So, that's that nice Peterbilt pulling out. We're gonna do this for a few more minutes and then we'll check out of here. Have you heard of Mudflap? It's a fuel discount app. Can only put fuel at mom and pop truck stops like Saps and others. Yeah, I've heard of that. I believe one of our viewers here in this chat is using Mudflap. And headed to the Indian Reservation outside of Buffalo to fill up. I always notice Texas fuel is higher than hell. Yeah, it's probably pretty high right now. And look, demand went up. I mean, that there is a supply and demand element to that. But if they really, really, really want to phase in electric cars, all they got to do is make gasoline so expensive that people end up, and here's what I'm worried about. I'm not an economist. I just told you that I know nothing about stocks, right? In that whole world, Wall Street world. But I will say this. the last time this economy really saw a major hit was the same time that fuel prices went through the roof. The housing bubble happened, it bursted, and I think that what happens is that if I'm putting $60 in my pickup instead of $30, that's less stuff I'm going to buy. Or and then and so when bills become a little bit harder to pay, the first things to go are luxuries like boats, campers. People start selling those things, start getting repoed, and then the house that your bank so generously loaned you money for, that you could afford easily, is now that $200,000 house may not have been a good idea, and so boom, they got you. And I remember in 2009, I was driving 2008 2009. I was driving a school bus, and I would just go in these whole neighborhoods in Springfield, just houses for sale left and right, and you couldn't buy a house to save your life. Um, and I mean, well, you couldn't sell your house to save your life. Buying one was easy. So there isn't enough elect in our grid to power all the cars. Big Brother want more of the problem. Texas saw put all the electric cars on the road. Daycab Gear Jammer, what's up? Paul Wibbles, good morning. Gotta have a mortgage first, right? And I don't know. It seems like the gas prices correlate with whatever situation the country's in. I mean, look at a couple of years ago. Gas was like below $2 a gallon, and the economy was booming until COVID world hit. And then fuel got really low during COVID world because there was no demand. Half the trucks were sitting at home, half the people were working from home or furloughed, so they weren't using gas, and everybody's still afraid to travel. But people are getting braver and braver, and they're coming out, and the restrictions that the government puts on, and government is it's a big it's a big element to all of this, right? Like go back to the stock market thing, the whole GameSpot thing. That was just an excuse for the government to come in and say, you know what, we need to regulate this stuff. When government regulates capitalism to that level, it could become a dangerous thing. So now it's a Road Pro t-shirt. I got it the last truck show. You guys remember truck shows? That's where I got it at. But look, everybody's ecstatic about these rates that we're getting, and I'm all about it. Trust me, I'm all about it. If you can make, like Eddie, make 5,000 on 1,200 miles, that's really good. I mean, that's insane. And I'm fixing to gear up and put a plan out there that's going to require some sacrifice, and to gear up for some just heavy acorn storing, because I don't know what the other side of this is going to look like. I mean, I'm not being doom and gloom, but when it's this high, there's a crash coming, right? So make it while you can now. Store, because if speculation says that fuel's going to be $6 a gallon by the end of the year, we've never seen those levels, and there's a lot of people that went out of business when fuel hit 5 and 4, to be honest with you. And just proceed with caution and store all that stuff. Speculation, but get ready for inflation, then a big crash of the used economy. Make hay while the sun shines, right? You said it first. You did, Cascade. You did. Last couple of loads I took were broker loads. Never a good sign here. What's your take on when to buy a new truck? Sean, I remember when I bought my Peterbilt, I was talking to the guy that runs the shop at Transland. He was a nice guy, and I told him that I was thinking about buying a truck. He's like, oh no, it's not a good time to buy a truck. You know, he had all these economic factors in play and all this, and it's interesting. A lot of times people will tell you it's never a good time to buy a truck, and some people will tell you it's always a good time to buy a truck. And so you get confusing answers, just like the stock market. You can't get a straight answer, and I can't give you a straight answer because whether you buy a truck in a down market or buy a truck in an up market, the idea is to have your cost low. In other words, you have to, if you buy a truck, if you decide you're going to buy a truck, if I decide I'm going to buy a new truck tomorrow, I'm going to make sure that the math works for when the crap hits the fan level. What can I do? Can I still maintain the payment? Can I still be able to pay the house bills if fuel goes to $6 a gallon and rates are at $1 a mile? Can I make that work? And so the answer is different for everybody. Because it all depends on your costs. You know, if you can buy a new truck and put 50 grand down on it and keep your payments low, that's great. If you buy a new truck with no money down on a 7-year note and your payments are $3,000 a month, I don't recommend that. And those kind of plans out there do exist, but you know, and they're taking advantage of people that want the reward now. So I would definitely not want to buy an old school extended hood truck because of the fuel prices. Because like I know 2 contractors that compare their numbers side by side, and one wins all the time on the net because of fuel. And one's got a fleet truck and the other one's got a non-fleet truck. And those high fuel prices are literally going to kill that part of the industry. So having no truck note will be a good leverage if it turns sideways. Clyde, and that's why I'm not in a hurry to buy a truck. But I also don't want to be in the position of putting $80,000 into a $20,000 truck. So there's a middle ground there, right? Truck prices are up because of economy reboot. Personal opinion is wait till the crash. Ninja brings up an excellent point. If you take Provost's truck and what he paid for it, I could have gotten the same truck last year in February because there was absolutely no demand for new trucks for about $15,000 to $20,000 less than what Provost paid for his. And I'm going to get to Provost's comment right there too. And so when you call the dealer and it's going to be 3 or 6 months out before you can even custom order a truck, that's not the time to buy, because that means everybody's jumping in the game, and so prices on the trucks go up. Same thing with trailers. We're seeing that in the trailers right now. So sometimes it's best to buy a truck when the demand for trucks is down. It's not what the market's doing, it's what the demand for trucks, for equipment is doing. If there's no demand for equipment, that's the time to buy to take advantage. I think that's how the stock market works too, if I'm correct. The truck payment is in my business plan until the end of my trucking, and that is a good way to look at it. Like, if you have a paid off truck, should still be putting away that truck payment every month. And then, when the truck finally dies and you've been making the truck payments, or a payment in the bank, then you can put 50, 60 grand down on a new truck, have the warranty that keeps your repair bill down, and then you've got a pretty reasonable truck payment all the time. So don't buy anything, pay off everything you own. When it crashes, that's when you buy the truck. When there's blood in the streets, that's when you invest. A little hyperbolic there, Eddie, but that's true. I have debt. I'd rather it be my house over rig. I can go company to get through hard time if necessary. Getting the deal on a house is like I got is hard to do. Yep, save a truck payment every month, even if it's paid off. The thing about having no truck payment is this. If things crash and I have to sit at home for almost a month like I had to, I'm not stressed over a $3,000 a month truck note, right? And by keeping my bills low at the house, that helps as well. So that helps the stress factor. And the more you can help the stress levels, the less likely you are to make bad mistakes. Your health won't go to crap as easily, and you won't do things that are damaging to yourself. Buy low, not high. Now is a high, right? Oh yes, sir. Breaking my new Callaways. Turn that vibration off. No, I'm not. Can't tell me what to do. Hey, check it out. Look what I got. I got a little ring light, right? It lights up. And so if I do vlogging, if I do annoying live feeds at night, you're going to see every nook and cranny in this beautiful, lovely face. It's going to be awesome. Putting out good vibes. That's a good way to do that. Yep. Stress, what's that, right? Yeah. It's dramatic. Blood in the streets, then invest. It's like it's a little high octane there. Yeah, Steve, change the subject. Turn it off. Don't change subject. Make a pros and cons list. Look, before I bought my first truck, the wife and I sat down and we were like, what's the worst that can happen? Well, if we get a cheaper truck, bank repossesses a $40,000 truck, I lick the wounds and I'm done. Credit takes a hit, no big deal. Always have 2 or 3 months of savings to pay your house bills, pay your car payments, pay your insurance. Always. Pay debts off as soon as you can. I've been doing some math, and if this truck can hold it together without any catastrophic, knock on wood, repairs, I might be able to create a situation where I'm debt free, except for one of the houses, within the next 5 years. So, but I don't think this truck's going to last 5 years without some kind of catastrophic failure. Thinking about a career change and taking an office job at a trucking company, you got me thinking twice about it. Well, Paul, the problem with, in my head, is that, if you're a company driver, then yeah, I mean, you're already working for a company, and if you decide to get off the road, I can definitely see that. But just make sure that trucking company that you're going to is going to survive when crap hits the fan. So 40,000 in a new truck is better than putting 40,000 into an old truck, says Marty. There's always more pro than con when you want something, says Ninja. That we talk a big game, but doing what we say is hard to do. I'm one for not following my own advice. Eddie, that's me. I'm that book, How to Think Like a Monk, by Jay Shetty. There's a section where you take this little test, because I got the audio version, but I bought my wife the paper version, and a hardback edition, I guess, and they had a quiz in there, and that was definitely one of my issues, was that sometimes I'm a do as I say, not as I do kind of guy, and I'm my own worst critic. I can build somebody else up, but I can't build myself up. If crap hits the fan, you could sell the new truck and eat the gap. Right. And so when it comes to buying a new truck, I probably missed my opportunity of the lowest truck prices ever last year, when I could have gotten into a truck like Proos for 145. I could have, for 135, I could have gone into a Volvo like Burgers. So I kind of screwed up. I'm always Johnny come lately. I'm not the brightest individual when it comes to stuff like that. And so, but they do sell gap insurance. That's true. Deals are still out there. Yeah, it takes a little bit of digging, takes a little bit of effort, and what's funny is, after my live feed Sunday night, I got several phone calls, why would you do that? Why would you do this? And I'm glad that people are concerned, but it for me, I'm trying to clear my head. I'm trying to, what do I need to do next? And when I have a barrage of 10 different ideas thrown at me, and then I wonder why I can't stay focused. And I get it. I put it out there, right? But, a lot of times this YouTube thing, we're thinking out loud, right? And the bottom line is sometimes I just have to get away to clear my head and figure out, what do I really want to do, And a new truck definitely makes me nervous. A different truck makes me nervous. This truck makes me nervous. Trucks make me nervous. So what's the root of that? Getting my finances in order, and that's what I need to work on next. So, dang it, I got coffee grounds in my coffee. May sound stupid, but when to buy a truck is simple when you need one. Look, a friend called me yesterday and said, the question of buying a truck is simple. If you look at the truck and it's going to cost you 80 grand to fix it up, and you look at that truck and you're like, would you want to buy that truck for 80 grand? Would you want to buy my truck for 80 grand? Probably not. So why should I put 80 grand into it? That's kind of, and that's basic thinking. Like Marty said about 40 grand earlier. If you look at a $10,000 truck that you would pay 30 for, and you think 10 is a good deal, then you're willing to put 20 into it, right? And that's kind of how I look at that. Because I guarantee that if you buy my truck for 80, or if you go to a dealership and buy a truck for 80, you're going to get a much better truck at the dealership for 80. Yeah, I mean, that's a used level, but 80 grand will buy you a decent used level truck. Probably with factory warranty left. Grafton, how's it going? I was checking trucks yesterday. My truck is selling for $59K last year. I could have bought one for $35K. Shows you the markup. Yep. Any companies I can lease to with a 6-month medical card, John? I don't know anything about that. I think as long as you have a valid medical card, I think they have no choice. I mean, that would just depend on the company. I would just, the small mom and pop companies might be more advantage because they may not have as strict criteria for hiring. But I've never seen a company say must have, X amount of experience, must be able to acquire a 1 or 2 year card. I only get a 1 year card because of the CPAP machine, and no one's ever batted an eye. All it does is it makes me put out more money for more, medical exams. All right, Provost, I'll call you later. Also, no FET on used truck, and that's the thing. It's like the FET is kind of a bargaining chip. You can like say you need to include FET and we got a deal, or you buy $100,000 mile truck. I know somebody that had their truck repossessed that was brand new and only had like I think 40,000 miles on it. And when that truck hit auction, it was 126. So the driver that lost that truck, he took the hit on the FET. And I wish I could have bought that truck at that time. So, because it was a good truck. Christian Trucker, what's up? Mr. Trailer Repair Guy. So, but yeah, it's all. I know one thing I would not want to buy right now, and that's a W9 or a 389 because, or any of these bigger trucks with the engines that are not meant for fuel mileage. Unless you're going to be heavy haul or specialized, because which you're not worried about fuel mileage, but fuel prices are going to hurt. That's not doom and gloom. That's reality. We're seeing it today. Enjoy these good rates while you can. Know your numbers and know their numbers. If you don't know your numbers and you're doing that same load that Eddie talked about for 2,500 and somebody's making 5,000, then if you have brokers calling you because they think you're the best friend, you might want to increase your rates a little bit. So making that side cash. Good deal. Study your numbers. Yep. And if you want to study your numbers, if you want to know your numbers, there's a program called Truckin' Pro. Use SA10. I do get a kickback for that, but you do too for 10% off. And it's a great program that will give you your cost per mile down to the penny. Down to the penny. Down to the half penny. So I bought a 2020 Peterbilt 579 Ultra Loft at the end of September last year for $151,000, FET included. That is really good, Josh. Haven't seen you in a minute. Usually I'm running into you there in Joplin. Yeah, see, I could have gotten a new Volvo FET for 145, and that's the big one, the one that you could sit 6 people in your truck. Not that I want 6 nasty people in my truck, but But anyways, I gotta go check in, see if they'll unload me a little bit early, or at least start the process early, so I can book my next load and continue to make money. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. We've only got 8 thumbs up. And so this is my part where I give you a guilt trip for not giving me a thumbs up. And it'll help my numbers. And, you know, and, you know, Ninja, yeah, it depends on how much you put down. If you put a whole bunch down, you know, he might not have much of a truck payment. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate the thumbs up. I appreciate tuning in to this morning's Morning Coffee Thoughts Live. And go out there and make the money. Make hay while the sun shines. Spring is here. Hopefully you're not in a bad weather area. But if you are, be safe. And if you aren't, be safe. Watch out for crazy people. And you know, it's a crazy world we live in. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good day.